I'm Sophia Louisa Lee. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of So Zoom In. Please hit like and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. I love bringing you people who are in the creative flow. Today, I'll be speaking with Damian Wyldes. He is an award-winning musician, singer-songwriter, music producer. He pretty much does it all. He's in El Paso, Texas, and he's coming in right about now.
How's it going? How are you?
Good. So much, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
It's my pleasure.
You're really busy. So Damian Wyldes, right? Wyldes.
W-Y-L-D-E-S, yes.
Thank you so much for joining me for So Zoom In. I appreciate it. You're in El Paso, Texas.
That's correct.
Yeah. How's it going there in Texas?
Pretty good, pretty good. Right now we're having some weird weather. It's a little windy, but other than that, it's okay.
It's crazy windy here too. Like the windows have been shaking all day.
Oh wow.
Like this
That's crazy.
And they're in Texas too. That's wild. I hope it doesn't mean like there's a big storm. I hope it means it's like clearing out all the gunk, right?
Right. Clear out all the negative energies.
Right. I like that. So you have a lot going on. I'm like
a little bit.
Whoa, I'm blown away. Just first of all, you're incredibly talented. I listened to so many of your songs and I love them. And I saw that you are calling it a new genre.
Yeah, well, it's a mix of genres, so it's not the usual thing. So whenever they ask me what I do, I don't know what to tell them. So I have to kind of make up a genre for myself.
Okay. So what exactly is it then? How would you describe this genre?
I call the genre Southwestern folk. Okay. That's kind of like what I just call it. If we're talking about actual genres, like I don't know, whatever's in the Grammys, for example, we would call it American roots.
Okay.
But in reality, it's kind of like a weird mix of like folk with like dark folk with outlaw, with happy folk, with little hints of like mariachi, with like New Orleans kind of feeling. So it's like a weird mix of different things.
Well, it's definitely sexy music. I mean,
thank you so much.
Yeah, definitely call it sexy because you feel like moving to it. What I loved is that you're bilingual. I mean, that you sing songs in Spanish too, which I thought was really beautiful.
I do.
You have a new song out, new single.
Yes, it's called Still, featuring Kitt Wakeley. He's won he's been charted at like 5 number ones on the billboards in the past 6 months. So good friend of mine. He's amazing composer and amazing pianist. So he was like gracious enough to be on the song. So I featured him and it came out really well. It's doing pretty okay.
Okay. All right. So how long, what inspired you to be a singer? Where did
it was I always knew that's what I was supposed to do. It's really weird because a lot of people are like, oh, I saw this and this is what inspired me. And in reality, I come from a musician's family.
Okay.
My dad played guitar, rock guitar, till he's already passed away. So may he rest in peace. But like he used to play rock guitar. But I don't know if it was because I grew up seeing things like that, or it was just something that I already knew, but I always felt that I always knew that this is what I was going to do.
Okay. It was like, now, did you go to school to study, or it was just?
I did. I learned in school. I learned a few instruments and studied a few instruments, like the upright bass, for example, things like that. Classical music. I am vocally classically trained initially. So I do have some vocal training that's classical. I actually do vocal coaching now. So in the studio that I have, River Moon Records, which is also an indie label. But we do a lot of vocal coaching, and that's what I do as well.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm originally classically trained.
Well, I think when you have those basics down, you can really go in any direction with that.
Exactly. And I still use exercises that I learned when I was doing classical music. So it does really help, and it did build a really strong foundation, actually.
Do you teach online or in person, or how's that work?
I can do most of my classes are in person, because vocal coaching, I mean, you've got to be able to see that diaphragm that's moving correctly, all that kind of stuff. And it's really hard to get that energy going online. But I do online classes as well.
Okay. So the people out of state or out of El Paso can
Exactly. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Just
okay.
hit me up. River Moon Records.
All right. So I have to admit, I listened to a lot of your songs on YouTube, because they had
Okay.
some videos with it too, and you had some live performances, and I really got a sense of who you were as a musician by doing that. And I love your music. I mean,
Thank you.
not only is it sexy, but it's very soulful, and it's like very, I feel like it really connects to the soul as opposed to something more popish or superficial. How did you find that? I mean, how did that come to you? Or
That was a work in progress because um I was new. I was a singer-songwriter, so I started writing songs, but I did play in many, many, many bands. I used to play in rock bands all the time. So I played for a long time. We would tour and do different things, and every time I would initiate a project, I would end up restyling my vocals to fit that project. So I would that's why I have so much experience in vocals, because I would always do something different vocal wise to fit whatever original music band was we were doing.
yeah, cool.
And I'm all about original. So it went from many, many different genres of just rock to many different things. And it kept going to where when I became a solo artist, I did the exact same thing. I just tried to format my vocals to fit something, but it was my vocals with my music. So it was kind of weird. For a while, it was a little kind of like a trial and error for a long time. Until I was able to like kind of really, really hone down what it was to sing from my soul, or from my soul, you know what I mean? Not from what I think other people think my soul sounds like. You know what I mean? Just to actually sing from my soul. It was a little bit hard to figure that out for a while. But I've been doing that. I think I figured that out like 10 years ago. And I've been kind of working on that and honing that in, and kind of like being able to express myself musically in a better way. And I think it's more authentic.
Oh, yeah. That's so what made you decide that you want to be a solo artist after working with so many different bands?
Well, it's usually when you're working with original music, or with a band specifically. It's one of those things where if a band breaks up, you sometimes you can't even use the music anymore, because somebody that's in disagreement, they wrote part of the music, or in all the songs pretty much, and it's kind of like it just turns into a big old a big old show. Let's just say, you know what I mean? So
Too much drama.
yeah, it turns into a big old drama fest. So you can't really use that material. So you're just kind of like stuck having to start from zero again every time. So especially if you're like in a serious band and that's the goal, usually you have just nothing but original music, and then you're stuck in that same position. So I did that a lot. So I just got to the point to where I was like, it was a crossroads, and I just said, hey, like, what do I do now? Like, do I quit music? Is this it? Or if I'm going to continue, I've got to do something different, because, doing the same thing and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. You know what I mean? So I said, hey, well, I'm going to become a solo artist. The hell with it. That's what I'm doing now. And I literally branded myself as a solo artist. And like 2 weeks after that, I had signed a contract to do a song on a soundtrack for Warner Brothers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
so right away I was like, whoa, I hit the floor running, and after that I was just like, okay, this is a good sign. And that's just what I've been doing this whole time.
Wow, nonstop. So do you still sing songs in Spanish, or do you pretty much
Yeah,
sing?
absolutely. In fact, I have a brand new song in Spanish that I'm trying to record for this album that I'm formatting together. And it's a song in Spanish. It's really cool. It's a little bit different than what I usually do in Spanish, because it has to fit into what I'm doing now. You know what I mean? With this new genre that I've picked up. I mean, I say new, but I've really been doing it forever. In fact, when I write songs, even when I was doing other projects, when I would still write songs on my own, just for me, and they were like what I'm singing now, it was very weird to come to terms with that. You know what I mean? So once I was singing on my own, and I was like, okay, well, this is the song. This is how I sound. So, but I do have a song in Spanish that's coming out, and it's I believe it's going to be titled Destrózame, perdóname, something like that. So we'll figure it out. It's still working. The title's still kind of in the air, but we'll see. It's kind of cool. And hopefully you guys will enjoy it when you guys see it, when you guys hear it on the album.
So what inspires you to write a song? Does, does it just
Well,
you or?
no, it's kind of funny actually. A lot of people write in different ways. A lot of songwriter will sit down and they'll start strumming some chords and they'll like, oh well, this sounds like a song, and they'll just go with that, and they'll write mentally create a song. You know what I mean? Some people will smoke weed or something, and it like hits their creative side, and they'll make them write some songs. And then I'm about to sneeze, right?
Bless you.
Thank you. Right in the middle of a Zoom interview, but hey, it happens.
Good time, right?
So we were saying about oh yeah, so some people write songs. Some people are like songwriting machines. We have an artist on the label on Riverwood Records. Her name is Andrea Castro. Shout out to her. She has a really cool single right now. It's called Paranoia. It's really, really cool. You guys should check it out. Honestly, I'm like more excited about that single than a lot of stuff that I've ever done, because it's really, really, really cool. It's a really cool song. But anyways, she writes like she's like a songwriting machine. She literally will sit there and write. And I artists developed her for a very long time. And we would get together and I would be like, hey, what did you do this week? And she's like, here are these 4 songs that I wrote. Here are these 5 songs. And she's just like a songwriting machine, and they're really good songs, always really good songs. Wow. So me personally, I don't use any of those techniques. Me personally, I'm one of those people that just like, I don't know. It's almost like I'm a conduit. It's not something that I create. I mean, I work on it and I work on it when it comes through. But in reality, when I write songs, sometimes I literally vomit them out in like 5 seconds and 5 minutes. And it's like, whoa, it's just like, boom, the inspiration hits and it's like, boom, 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 boom. And then the song's done right away. Sometimes there's little parts of it that are missing or whatever. But for the most part, like the important part of the song are written they're just there. You know what I mean? It's like they come to me and boom. So it's kind of interesting a little bit.
That's exciting, just to be so open to receive like that, to just produce. That's really, so you do lyrics and the music, or?
I'm sorry?
Do you end up doing the music as you do that with the lyrics, or?
Yeah, I just grab the guitar and you know what I mean? Well, it depends on what I'm doing. Sometimes I have a song and I'm not in the studio and I don't have a guitar on hand. So sometimes it's just I'll grab the phone and I'll turn on the recorder and I'll just I'll vocal into it, whatever's coming in, whatever idea I have, and that'll be the start of whatever I'm writing. Then I'll have to go back and try to figure out whether it fits what I'm thinking, like as far as melodies. I'll have to go into the guitar and see if it's whatever chords I'm thinking we're at or things like that. Sometimes I have to change keys and different things like that, but usually it's pretty much like that.
Sounds kind of fun, to just be in that state of creation. Are you touring anywhere right now?
I am not, but I do have a lot of really cool performances. Well, I will be touring later. Okay. There's something in the works. Possibly I'm going to be touring in the UK later this year.
Oh, wow.
Closer to the end of the year. And I've been, during COVID, it really just ruined everything. It was that year, that 2020, man, that year started off. I had a tour in Europe that we were planning because I had a song that hit #1 in some lists in Netherlands. Wow. So, and it stayed on there for like a very long time. In fact, at the end of 2019, it was literally named single of the year because it just like wouldn't. It was just up there. It just stayed on #1 for like forever. Wow. So I was like, well, we've got to go tour out there. So let's go. So that was the plan, and we were planning to tour in the Netherlands, Italy, UK, Ireland, and a few other places in between. And then on top of that, I was invited to go tour with my good friend Oliver Shawn, which I had featured in a blues album with him. And he was like, right away he had invited me to go tour in the UK, and he's like, hey, come on over, we'll work it out, like just let's do this. And I'm like, yeah. And then I was so eager to do that he was like, hey, how would you be interested to tour in India as well? in the beginning of the next year's first quarter with VH1 of India. And I'm like, yes, let's do it right away. So I just signed up for like all these tours that we were supposed to be doing, like right before the pandemic hit. So the pandemic hit and everything got canceled. And the tour that I did in Europe was the one that I was planning in Europe, was the one that hurt the most, because I mean, there was already money involved, and there was investments and things like that that we were doing. And that's pretty much, you just cancel stuff and that's it. It's like lost money sometimes. So it just happens. But I will be going back. I will be going back. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to the UK, hopefully at the end of this year, with Oliver Shawn. So we should have a blast. He's a crazy guy.
So how about music? Like you're like drummer, or you like the people that make up the rest of your music? Do you hire local talent over there, or do you take people with you?
If I could take people with me, I'll take my musicians. I actually have a really good, really good group of brothers and sisters in music, as I call them. They're Paulina Ortiz, Tommy Joe, and Jose Gardea, and they've been playing with me for about 4 years now. So they're like literally the same musicians. It's really amazing because all of them are really good musicians in their own right. I mean, they all sing, they all play various instruments. My bass player, he has perfect pitch. He literally has perfect pitch, and it's like ridiculous because it's really useful sometimes when I'm going to start the song in the wrong key. You know what I mean? And he's like, hey, that's not the right key. I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. Thanks. So it's really cool. But so if I can take them, I a million times would prefer to take them, not only because it's them, but they, hey, it's Europe. They deserve to go too. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. They're like really good friends of mine. We've been playing for a very long time. In fact, this year I was what do you call it, blessed enough to be able to take them to the Grammys. So that's how they went with me to the Grammys, and they were able to attend, except for the bass player. He had to leave early. So, but everybody else was there at the Grammys with me. So it was kind of cool.
That's exciting. Now, you went to be supportive of other people, or were you actually nominated yourself?
No, I was not nominated at all. But in fact, I honestly didn't even submit music this year. We prepared a strategy for the next Grammy, so I just like left it alone. But I did have a performance to go do, and and of course, attending the Grammys there's a really cool indie community. Shout out to all my indies. They're very love-filled and very supportive of each other, and it's really awesome to see all these different genres that of just talent, oozing talent. It's ridiculous. They ooze talent, and it's like, and they're not as there's a whole premiere Grammy ceremony for them. That's like from 12:30 to whenever the other Grammys begin, the televised Grammys begin, but in those Grammys, in those premiere Grammys, there's huge artists performing either way that are really supportive of what would be an indie artist. You know what I mean? So it's really cool to go to that community and be part of it and network through them and join them and be like a brotherhood kind of. You know what I mean? So it's really cool. It's really, really cool.
On one of your YouTube videos, you mentioned something about being part of an indie collaborative. The indie collaboration.
Yes. Shout out to my indie collaborative. It's a really cool group. Same thing again. A lot of them are members of the Recording Academy as well, and but it's pretty much a group of independent musicians, and we collaborate. We collaborate together, and they have shows as well. Grant Malloy Smith is one of the head people in the organization. Is really, really good musician as well. Plays really good country music. Actually, it's really, really cool. And there's just amazing people like Kehlani Pea, he just won his 3rd Grammy this year. And in his speech, which is like a beautiful speech, and he was like, shout out to my indie collaborative. And he's just like, because he's part of the organization. And I was just like, wow, it's crazy. Because it's like, who does that? It's like, it's all love everywhere. So it's really cool.
So would you say that you enjoyed the first half of the Grammys more so than the second half?
Oh, unfortunately, yes, absolutely. I mean, the other part is really great. Right. And the show itself, you know what I mean? Just the setup, the stages, all that kind of thing. I mean, this year obviously it wasn't as big because, you know, because it's in Las Vegas, and the stage in LA is so much more complex. Like it's just a setup, because I've been to both, and the setup is really, really big. But I think they did really good with what they had. You know, for what it was. It wasn't bad, you know, it's just that for me it's a lot better to go see the indies. For example, there was a performance, on the top of my head I can't remember the violinist, but in the premiere ceremony there was a performance by a violinist, and literally it was just the violinist playing the violin.
Wow.
And it was so insane. I mean, this guy, it was so insane that I literally just zoned out. I didn't even think of recording it. That's how good it was. I just sat there and with my brains exploding.
Oh,
it was
wow.
phenomenal. So there's just some and they wouldn't do that on the televised Grammys, you know what I mean? Which they should. It was amazing. It was amazing. So there's a lot of things that they don't, you know, that they don't do in one that they do in the other. That like in the premiere ceremony that I find more attractive. And also all my friends are there. So this year, literally, the majority of my friends that I know really well won Grammys.
Oh,
So,
wow.
so a lot of people won, and it's really cool. It's really cool to see, and it makes me really happy to see these people succeed, because I know they work really hard, and I talk to them a lot. And there's a lot of work that goes into. I mean, just this album by it's called Sirens. It's like an opera album. It's like it's Greek mythology themed.
Uh-huh.
It's really, really cool. It's really original. And everybody from the producers to all the singers and everybody that played on this album, they're just like, I know them all, and they're really just amazing. So, and I know that they worked probably 3 years on this album, if I'm not, like a total of 3 years, from what I understand, from beginning to end. And so it's a very long time. I mean, I'm talking about, that's a long time. That's a big project, and it shows, and it shines. You know what I mean? So it's really cool to see them winning, and like to see their face. It's just it's awesome. It's awesome. Like it makes me happy when my friends succeed like that. It's just it absolutely makes me happy.
But you're part of that creative flow. You know, you're going to be up there, you know, yourself. I'm sure.
Hopefully I'll be there. And you know what? And even if I'm not, it still makes me happy to know that, you know, that they're there, and that eventually I'll be part of some projects that I know will probably win or be nominated for sure. But because I'm, you know, the more I associate with different people, the more people are like, hey, well, do you think you want to work on this with me? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? Like I myself, I've been really lucky to have people that want to work with me. I guess based on my vocal ability, or just my good energy or good vibe, whatever it is that it is. But like I've had, you know, like for example, Kitt Wakeley, that's a feature on the latest single. I mean, I'm super lucky to have that, because not only did it sound amazing, but it gave it a different feel. It was out of the box of what I had, which is what I wanted. I really wanted something out of the box. So it's like a piano romantic song. Still my style, definitely, but it you know, I was very lucky to be able to show that to my people that hear my music. You know what I mean? So I also have I won't mention the other feature that I'm working on right now, but it does include a Grammy winning artist.
Okay.
So that's really, really, really exciting. So the whole album will have a few features in it, and which is cool, because if the album happens to be nominated, those artists will also be nominated. They'll be Grammy nominees, and if I win a Grammy, you know, if I'm lucky enough to win a Grammy with it, they will be, you know, Grammy winners as well. So that's really cool. It's cool to have like that little team, you know what I mean?
Right, exactly. Now, so you are definitely about the music, and my understanding, you just opened or started a foundation.
Yes. Finally.
What exactly is it, and what is the purpose for it, and what do you see with it? And it's called a Music First Foundation. Is that correct?
Yes,
Or
yes, it's called the Music First Foundation. It's something that I've worked on and that I've been trying to accomplish for a very long time. It first started with me thinking, can I even do this? You know what I mean? How can I make a real difference to, in the world and just in my community, internationally? I mean, we live in a border town, so there's like a lot of possibilities. We literally, I live in El Paso, and El Paso's a border. El Paso, Texas, a borderland town that borders Juarez, Chihuahua, Mexico. So that together is like one of the biggest metroplexes in the world. Literally, it's humongous. So there's a lot of opportunity to help people and to bring music and the healing that music does, and the language that music is, because it's a different language, you know what I mean? And it's like and it's very healing, and it's very it fills people, it creates happiness, you know what I mean? So um just to give you kind of a quick really rundown example, there's places here in this city where when people are trafficked
yeah.
through the border line, when people are trafficked and they're stopped, or they're picked up, or whatever it is that happens, they're taken to the kids themselves are taken to, like, kind of like they're kind of like foster holding centers, kind of.
Wow.
And some of these kids are going through really, really, really just like life changing ugly things, you know what I mean? I mean, the underage girls coming in pregnant because they were raped, and kids, same thing with boys, and it's just, there's a lot of really ugly things. I mean, I don't want to go into too much detail about it, but there's ugly things in the world, we all know that. And these kids are thrown into these, like, I guess you can call them orphanages, kind of, and they're taken care of, and people try to unite them with what they do is they try to unite them with other family members that are either here, or they prepare them to send them back. Just depends on the situations.
Right.
And all these kids they're just there. You know what I mean? There's obviously there's stress, obviously there's exhaustion, there's a sadness, and there's so much going on, but providing a little bit of a music lessons for them, or having them learn something new, or giving them some kind of just a little spark of something different is something that would make a real big difference. So there's a lot of situations like that I've heard of, and that's kind of like what really inspired me to begin this foundation. And little by little, I just kind of it took a long time, because I couldn't, in my mind, I didn't believe in myself enough to be able to do this. You know what I mean? It took a long time for me to really believe that I can do this. So it's like a really, really huge deal, really, really big deal for me personally. So finally, we're like in the final stages of getting everything set up for the foundation, and the legal. Foundations are there's so much paperwork and legal stuff that needs to go and happen and all that. So we've been working on that, and we're at the final stages right now. So I'm super excited.
Wow, that can really change so many lives of
Yeah,
these kids.
absolutely.
Imagine the fear that they have, and music is so healing. Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. So, okay, if anyone wanted to contribute to your foundation, how would they do that?
Should be the Music First Foundation. I don't have it up yet anywhere. We're like literally finishing up right now, fortunately.
Okay.
But
This is like,
I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's like brand new. I'm like, damn it, I'm missing a what do you call it? A chance to promote it, right? And get
no, we're promoting anyway. It's gonna happen, Damian.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start setting up the links for it and all that soon, so that people can donate and start getting things going in that direction, as far as that, and getting things going. I mean, it doesn't just involve those specific things. It also involves literally instruments, providing instruments, and providing music lessons for underprivileged kids, which they're everywhere, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's the same thing. You spark something in somebody's mind or in somebody's heart, you know what I mean, that they receive an instrument and they learn it, and it absolutely changes just their whole perspective of the world. I know that's happened to me. You know what I mean? Music has absolutely changed my life. It transformed every part of me from the beginning till now, and it keeps doing it every single time I meet new musicians, and every time I pick up a guitar, and every time I write a song. It changes my life every time. It transforms. It's transformative, and that's kind of what I want to be able to provide to other people, that love for music, and that just the chance to have that, because not everybody has that, and especially now in the way the educational systems are changing. There's a lot of people there. There's a lot of educational systems that are doing away with the music. They're literally doing away with it. It's kind of sad because
it's very
yeah, those are, I mean, it's even scientifically proven that music provides more intelligence. So, you know, I'm like, wow, what's happening?
Yeah, this is wonderful that you're offering. So you're offering it to pretty much everyone outside of the school system, right? Or
yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. I do work. I do have a few things going on with a few schools that I'll announce as they go. But for the most part, yeah, for the most part, it's just kind of on our own, and we'll figure out different ways of providing that. In just literally different ways. I mean, I do have River Moon Records. It's like an actual brick and mortar place, like as you can see. So I can literally have a lot of things happen here. You know what I mean? That have to do with the foundation that would make sense. You know what I mean? I could have group classes of different types, and that you know, basically for free, provided by the foundation, things like that. So we're working on different things. Hopefully it'll all work out.
That's very exciting. I'm really proud of you for doing that. Really opening up to so many. You know, it's going to change lives. It really will.
That's the goal. I mean, people really. It's like almost. It seems like almost like a childish thing when you're young and you think, oh, I want to change the world, because everybody really, I know a lot of people, and I'm pretty sure everybody in one point in their life has sat there and thought when they were really young, it's like, I'm going to change the world. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, and it sounds like a childish, once you start seeing the reality of the world, it sounds like a childish thing. This is why it was so difficult for me to like push to start this, to even believe that it's possible, because you know, after you see how the world is, you're like, oh, that's impossible. But in reality, if everybody puts a little grain of salt and changes themselves and changes a little bit around them, I mean, everything changes. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a little bit of a difference. It goes along with it.
That's so exciting. How long have you been working on this project?
I've been working on this project since I began River Moon Records, which is what, like 4 years ago, since I started like the actual studio and, you know, the artist development portion and all that. So yeah, it's quite a long time.
Well, but you're still going at it. You know, it doesn't matter how long it takes, as long as you do it, you follow through on it.
Yeah.
I definitely, you know, when it's up and running, I'd love to interview you again and talk about it and how it's going, and really, you know, help you promote it, because that's such a
absolutely.
honor.
Oh, I'd love that. Anything is going to be able to help, because like I said, the intentions are good, and the, what do you call it, the goal is very specific. It's very specific, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's not so broad that it's like, what are you guys doing? It's very specific. It's like very, very specific. So it's very clear and cut, you know what I mean? Which is good, because that's what I wanted. Because I've seen a lot of nonprofits, especially music ones, that they're like, what do you guys do? You know what I mean? It just kind of seems like what are you guys doing? I don't really see. There's nothing really clear cut for what they're doing. You know what I mean? So it's like, it did bother me when I saw that, and that's something that I do want to do different in this foundation, to make sure that it's very clear and cut what we're doing and how we're helping.
Good. I love that. And human trafficking, child trafficking, it's a problem. It really is a problem.
I really went into like the big guns. Let's talk about child trafficking.
You know, it needs to be addressed, because first of all, if there was no demand for it, there would be no supply for it. Exactly. And people forget that. You know, so, you know, let's all focus on self-care and being, you know, creative and not being messed up. You know? Right. So let's literate the demand, you know, so That's one way, I think.
Oh, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I absolutely right. I couldn't even say that more.
Yeah, but I love that you're doing that. So we will definitely talk more. And so you are doing so many wonderful things, and I'm so glad I had a chance to meet you, because you blew me away. Just, you know, your presence, and you have this kindness about you that is so hard to find among people, especially when you just first meet them. But there's like a genuine, authentic kindness about you that I really appreciated, and I would like to see more of. And when you're like you said, you're part of that family, and I think that's wonderful. And your music is awesome. Oh my goodness! I just, I want to hear you live now. I want to hear you play live.
Well, you missed it on that Friday, that Grammy week. We performed at that Sisters in Music Jam. It was. I don't know how to say it. It was pretty off the chain.
Do you ever come to Los Angeles to perform?
I could, if you invite me. If we set something, I can go, definitely. I know people. I know quite a few people, actually. My good friends, the Spellers, are out in LA. They're the owners of Double Down Cosmetics. So I'll be happy to go out there. We'll set up a jam, we'll set up something. It'll be great.
All right, cool. We will definitely keep in touch and see what can happen. But you, Damian, you're awesome. Okay, so best way to reach you, is it your website, or how, if someone wants to reach you?
Actually, the best way you can reach me is is Facebook, actually, to be honest, because that's what I answer the most. I'm always on there answering stuff, because I have Rivermoon Records as well. So either Damian Wyldes on Facebook or Instagram, or Damian Wyldes on or Rivermoon Records on Facebook or Instagram, either one. You guys can reach me. I'm literally the person who answers my own stuff, so I'll answer. I won't say it's me, but like, sometimes I'll be like, hey, what's up? It's me. And so it's me. But I'm the one who does it. I'm not like that rich guy that has somebody answering my stuff for me yet. Eventually I'll get busy. You know what I mean? And I'll be lucky enough to have somebody that can do it for me, so I'm going to be doing it. But at the moment, if you message me, it'll be me.
Well, yeah, but you'd still do it anyway, because you're authentic. You're just that authentic kind of guy. Keeping it real. Yeah, so that's awesome. But yeah, thank you so much for your time, Damian. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to hearing your new single. I didn't get a chance to hear Mama Bear. I'm sorry, not Mama Bear. No, yeah. Why was I thinking Mama Bear? I saw something on your site that said Mama Bear, but nothing down.
My songs, but it's not the new single. The newest single, and the next single that's coming out is called Skeletons, and that'll be out soon. It's really cool. It's really dark and really, it's just gritty. It's really cool. So hopefully everybody likes it. It's
good.
That I specifically do more commonly, so I like it. These new singles, the last two singles that I took out were a bit different, but I wanted to on the box, which it was totally on purpose, and I loved it. It came out just the way it was. But this next single is very specifically what I do, like the styles that I do.
Oh, awesome. Well, I'm just blown away. I'm blown away by your music, and I look forward to hearing more. So anyway, all right, thank you so much, Damian, and I look forward to talking to you again soon, and definitely, if I can, hear you play live.
That sounds great. Thank you.